Hello, my lovelies. We are live, and it is the second day of the Cultivate Self-Confidence Challenge. I'm getting chills. I have to tell you, I am getting chills. This is such a thing dear to my heart. I hear so many women running themselves down. Why do we run ourselves down? Why do we tell ourselves we aren't competent, we aren't worthy? And we just have to get everything right, only we won't. And we're useless. And everything we do always is a failure. Why do we tell ourselves these things? That was what we were talking about yesterday. Oh, we spent a whole half an hour talking about this. And the thrust of it all is it's set in you when you are a child. Perhaps you're just expected to do something without being given any guidance, maybe cooking. And, because it's the first time you've done it, it hasn't turned out. But you're told you can't get anything right. Maybe it's a comparison to a sibling that you just won't measure up. Maybe it's perfectionism. Maybe it's a feeling like you can't measure up because everything has to be perfect, only it won't be. Well, there's all sorts of reasons, and we really went into that yesterday. And there's those journaling prompts. Talk a bit more about that later. And the affirmations. Yeah, I'll come back to that. Now, let's look at what is the common factor in all these reasons why you tear yourself down. You take these messages you get from childhood, it becomes a pattern in your mind, and you just continue tearing yourself down. You just keep doing that. And we talked about kicking that pattern to the curb. What is an underlying factor? What is the common denominator? In every single scenario I just brought up as to why you hear these voices, your parents' actions brought that into you because they didn't support you. They didn't have your back. They just expected you to be someone different, to just get it, whatever it is. There was no support. Oh, it's foggy here. It's soggy in London. The weather. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, the weather. That's another factor. Well, it's the support, or rather, the lack of support. Just let's get our head around this. This might be a new thing to pop into your mind. This is a big mindset shift, I think, when you haven't had support. So let's explore this a little. You see, that's what first, this whole concept of support is what first got me very frustrated and upset and angry for some of my friends, because I could see how the parents were running them down. I could see how their parents were sort of cutting their legs out from under them, and not helping them to grow their wings, to be able to fly, to be able to succeed. Because I actually come from a situation where I got lots of support. And yes, they cheered me on if I failed at something. It wasn't as if it was just overlooked. So good. We have people joining us. This is so exciting. Oh, it's amazing. And this is it, right? Support. Coming in, getting information, supporting me, getting help. Oh, boy. I love that. And I'm telling you that it is an amazing thing. So to go back to that question of support, I would, if it's not like carte blanche support just to, feel like nothing matters. But there's a way of cheering, as in never mind when it happens, when something doesn't go right, when it goes a bit pear-shaped. And then, after the moment, digging into what happened. So I'm not saying it doesn't take into account the need to support through when things don't go right. I just wanted to make sure I got that out there. But what we're really focusing on today is like giving you your wings. And I will get so upset for my little friends who did not get that kind of support, the kind of support I did. Let me give you an example. Mum and I were in London visiting my grandparents, staying with my grandparents, as we often did. And I would say I was 9. No. I was definitely much younger. Sorry, that's a different thing altogether. I was probably 6. And Mum asked me to phone Paddington Station to get the train times, because, this was back in the day. And she wanted me to find out train times because we were about to take a trip. I felt very uneasy about that. It just seemed a bit of a step too far. And I thought, having to navigate this, it just all seemed too difficult. And Mum could see me sort of balking there. She could see on my face this sort of deer in headlight look. I said to me, Antonia, let's just do a role play here and see how you feel after the role play. And we literally did that. Hello, Paddington Station. May I help you? And we went through it. And we got to the end. And it made all the difference. Like this dry run, I felt like this was not such a hugely difficult thing to do after all. I felt like I'd sort of ironed out, some of the places that tripped me up, or I didn't worry so much about being tripped up. And so my mum said to me, well, what do you think? I said, oh, it's a bit tough, but I think I can do it. And I did it. And I phoned up Paddington Station, and it was fine. It was totally fine. Got the train times, and I felt so good about myself. I really felt like I'd taken that step out of my comfort zone, and boy, did it help me feel more confident. Now, you see, the thing is, if Mum had said, oh, Antonia, can you go and phone Paddington Station, please? And it just made me do it. I said, oh, go on, don't be so silly. I mean, it's not that difficult a thing to do. What's wrong with you? Or, oh, step up and do it, Antonia. I would have been in such a state. I don't know if I could have done it. I probably would have made a mess of it. And you see, I ended up, because of her support, because of her thinking of a way that she could give me those wings, help me feel confident and step out of my comfort zone, it worked out. And it gave me some confidence, and it gave me some trust in myself in being able to do things. Now, honestly, this is obviously a tiny little thing, but I love this story because I really think it's so straightforward, and it really illustrates how support helps. And I mean, the thing is, often, we're even brought up to think that getting support is a weakness or a failing, that it just means we're not capable. And it's entirely the opposite. And I think that when you get support, as a child, and you get that guidance, when you get that guidance, you tap into the support. It seems like a natural thing to do, because this idea that support is a weakness, that support means you are showing you're not capable, that this big secret will be let out if you ask for help or guidance. It's plain silly when you think about it, isn't it? It helps us make the most of our strengths and our talent. It helps us take that leap. It knows that support helps us also know that if it doesn't work out so well, there's a soft landing, that you won't kind of get slapped around for it, and you'll be helped to figure out what maybe to do differently next time. And not asking for support takes its toll. As we mentioned yesterday, it takes a toll in your relationships because you don't let people in. You can't receive. It is very important to be able to receive as well as give, because you know how good it feels to give. See someone's face light up, to know that you've given them a helping hand, But when we shut other people out from that loop, it affects our relationships. And I know this. It would never occur to me not to receive, because there was a lot of giving and receiving. And it was an ebb and flow in my childhood and in my life. It was not, I'm obliged. You want nothing to do with people who beat count that way. You really don't. And this is something that I've just continued to do, seeking support. We're not perfect. That's the other important fact. And knowing where you could do with a little bit of help is a valuable skill. It helps you really tap into your strengths, elevate them. That can be a little mysterious. But what happens when you seek support, when you take good support that is offered to you, is that it helps you grow. It helps you step out of patterns. It helps you see that you really know what you're up to in that area. And it helps you really increase your strengths. And that is obviously going to increase your self-confidence. And when you get a real understanding of those strengths and of areas you might want to expand, you begin to trust yourself more as well. And support does that because it will make you think that way. It will get you to dig into this stuff. I'm doing it right now with my amazing coach, a lot of mindset work, and help with my understanding, my focus, who I am. I knew I needed a coach. I knew I needed this help. And I can see the huge difference. Massive. I also want to keep growing to help you, lovely ladies. That's what I'm here for. And I'm doing this Kundalini teacher training. It's amazing. I'm just starting it. It's Kundalini yoga, and it's a full-on 200-hour teacher training. And I am getting the support there with thinking about my yoga and how I'm doing it on and off the mat. It's already at the beginning, it's already expanding my understanding. So I keep getting this support, you know, and in a way, it's much easier to think about from a academic school perspective, you know, because nobody expects you to sit down and add these. So if it's helpful to you to think of it that way, it really is brilliant. And it's and in yoga, it's an absolute idea that we are all connected, that we grow, that we grow not just from ourselves, but from our interactions with others and how we conduct them. And we talked yesterday about the yamas. This is one of the 8 limbs of yoga, having the philosophy to live a good life through yoga philosophy. And yesterday we talked about the yamas. These are the don'ts, the restraints. And it's the yamas are about our interaction with the world. So we get nonviolence as humans, nonviolence. Not violence to yourself, but also to the outside world. More importantly, we talked about that yesterday. But in a sense, more importantly for today, there's satya. And that's truthfulness. It's a very interesting concept because it involves the idea that is the way we see things absolutely true? And we don't always. We're not even seeing ourselves honestly, in a way. When you have this pattern stuck inside you, put inside you, you don't see yourself honestly. That's what ends up happening. And don't blame yourself. This was the biggest takeaway I wanted you to have. It's not your fault. And this is the thing about yoga. It says we know we have inside us our own truth, who we are. We have it right there. But there's these things that happen to us that take us away from that. And yoga is all about moving back to that truth of our real identity. Wow. And I would say support is very important in that. But what is really amazing is that, the support will continue that work of shifting that pattern. Because when you get the support, you take that step of confidence. Like I took that step at Paddington Station. Phoning Paddington Station. Right. So what I have in mind today is that let's go back to these patterns, right? The patterns themselves. And the first baseline part of seeking good support, of getting yourself confidence, is shifting those patterns. And that was the work we were doing yesterday. And I gave you these journaling prompts because there's really nothing like journaling to let your mind go free and really to shape what's going on under the surface. This is deep work. I mean, you might want to take it a bit slowly. But that's the thing. These patterns have been going on a long time. They're very deeply embedded. And you won't shake them in a minute. So I would love it if you would really make sure you take the time to tackle those journaling prompts. I mean, maybe even after today, thinking about support and lack of support and why support is so important. You might even want to go back and redo them if you've already done them. Now, you might have done all that really deep work. Amazing. I'm just so glad you're here, doing this. It's going to make such a difference. So the other part of that is starting on the shifting. And, patterns don't get broken in a day. So now that you've really identified it, understand it, and understand what's going on, and know you are not wrong, bad, to blame, that you are worthy, and all these other things that you were told you were not. Now that you realize how you've been sold such a pop about yourself, we're going to do the work of starting to shift that. These thoughts are going to come up. Inevitable. It will take a little while. And that's where the affirmation comes in. Wow. So I gave you at the end of the journaling an affirmation you could do. I mean, I also strongly encourage you to write your own affirmation. Make it really relevant to what's going on. How you are undermined. Were you constantly compared unfavorably to someone else? Were you always a failure because you're always expected to do things without guidance? Did you know your parents would just let you fall and not help you at all, ever? Were you told you had to be perfect? Whatever it is, perhaps you want to create your own affirmation directly related to that. So for today, I really encourage you to make sure you've done your journaling. Dig into those affirmations. Really, that's how you catch yourself. And, shift. That shift, starting that shift is so important. And I'm telling you that it's going to make a difference. It really is. I've seen it. Amazing. And, you might be thinking, well, how do I write my own affirmation? Or, gosh, these journaling prompts, have really made me think differently about support. And now what? Well, I'm going to be going in full depth into this tomorrow with our last day. But there's going to be an opportunity for you to work with me one-to-one, just the two of us. And that's where we can do things like create your own affirmation. There's going to be breath work, a meditation, some physical stuff, but not much of that we can do. This is it. It can be geared totally towards you and an area of your life where you want to increase your self-confidence. So this is a taste of sort of where my mind is and how it can help you through yoga. Because this is it. I've given you these journaling prompts. You can redo them. They'll be different every day. You'll uncover different things. You'll realize that something has shifted. I've given you an affirmation, and you're welcome to create your own. This is stuff that you can just keep doing at home. It's amazing. So that's where we are, my lovelies. So the big thing for today are keep on with your journaling and your affirmations. Really make that part of your life as much as possible, the affirmations in particular. But I want you to dig into this concept of support and what it means to you. And maybe that's something that you and I can work on together. And maybe you're just going to get all this amazing light bulbs going off in your mind. Because I'm absolutely clear that support is essential in really getting your self-confidence and your self-trust just going. So have a think about that. Go in your mind into what support looks like for you, what it looked like when you were a child. Create your own journaling prompts around it. And really just know that these negative voices are going to shift. You are not wrong in any way. And yoga will help you journey back to your true, wonderful, gorgeous, joyous self. Oh, my goodness. Wow. I'm loving this. This is why I do yoga. It's the physical, but it's how the physical manifests itself in other ways too in the yoga. And tomorrow is yoga day. I mean, that's really where we are just talking about yoga and how, and really yoga tools help you step into your self-confidence exactly your own self. You will do it. Can do it yourself. So thank you, my lovelies. Leave any comments, any questions, please. I love that. And make sure you get your journaling prompts. Sign up if you haven't already. And for goodness sake, get your affirmations going. All right, my lovelies. So good chatting. See you tomorrow.